Well, hello there. This is Craig Hain, also known as Dr. Dell, and I want to talk to you about our new Plant a Seed program. And this is the script for it that I'll be using, and I invite you to download the PDF of that if you prefer to read it or follow along with it. And this is all about a unique one-time opportunity for homeschool parents who are searching for a new high school math program that really works for any student. Now, to really understand that, you need to know who I am and what this program is about. And my name, as I said, is Craig Hain, and I have written a book that is entitled Teaching Math, a high school math curriculum that works for all students. And this could say middle school as well. It's really post-elementary. And this book has a lot of information in it about the teaching of mathematics and what is involved and what could be involved and should be involved, in my opinion, and so on. And so that's what this is about. Now, you are right now on our website, Triad Math Inc., and there are many videos on this website that discuss modern math education and the situation with it. And as a matter of fact, I am the creator of what we call the Dr. Dell 10-tier math program for post-elementary mathematics students. And you'll be learning a little bit more about that on this video as we talk about the Plant a Seed program. And there are basically three questions that I want to address with you on this video to talk about the Plant the Seed. The first thing is, what math topics should I teach? And by that I mean you as a homeschool teacher teaching a post-elementary school student. What should you teach? And why should you teach those topics? And then how should you teach those topics given the constraints that you might have? So these are the three questions I'm going to address first, and then I'm going to tell you about our Plant a Seed program, which I think you'll find very, very interesting and potentially valuable. Well, first of all, in terms of what math topics that I believe you should teach, is you need to teach your student math that they're ready for, given their prerequisite information and knowledge and skills, but also math that will be relevant to them, particularly when you consider their goals and their aspirations. Now, they certainly have to be ready for the math you're going to teach them with their prerequisite knowledge and their current skill set, and that's very important to consider. One solution to this problem, as you're going to learn about, is what I call the Dr. Dell Foundation course. This is the practical math foundation that I've developed, and I believe, and in fact we're proving every day, that this is the answer to this question about what you should be teaching to your students, and that'll be particularly true for students that have had some difficulty or struggle with mathematics, or maybe don't like math for some reason. And there's a lot of students in that category, and this program is very good for them. But it's also good for students that are potentially good at math and may have a future in math. Now, this Practical Math Foundation course that I refer to covers topics from pre-algebra and from algebra and geometry and trigonometry, plus, very importantly, how to use a power tool of modern practical mathematics that's called the scientific calculator. Because this is a tool that is required virtually by anybody today that is solving practical problems using these subjects. It also is a great reason why we can teach these subjects as efficiently as we can. And so this program is the best way for probably any student to get started, but particularly those that might have struggled in the past with math or that might be struggling now. Now, the next question that we're going to address is, why should you teach those topics to your student? And by the way, the syllabus for that Practical Foundation Math course is on this website. Well, the first reason is you need to satisfy the three principles or criteria of what I call the effective math education triad. Now, there is a video on this site that discusses that in detail, and of course it's discussed in my book, Teaching Math. But the real bottom line of it is you must, first of all, be sure that your student psychology is appropriately attended to. And these topics will help you do that. The next reason for teaching these topics is to prepare your student for what I consider the new world economy, where it is desirable to be what I call matherate and not just literate. And very few people today in this country are matherate. And I talk about that a great deal in the Teaching Math book in chapter 8 called the Matheracy Imperative. It's just one of many things we talk about in this book, but it's a very good reason why you want to teach these topics to a beginning student. Now, I will tell you that once your student completes the Practical Math Foundation course, your student will be able to solve most common, everyday, real-world practical problems. And in fact, they're going to know more mathematics than about 95% of U.S. adults today, I would estimate. And better yet, then, for some students, your student will be ready to proceed further in their math studies if they are interested in a career in education in a STEM subject. Now, that's an acronym for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics that they talk about today. And you will then need to teach them a lot of math beyond the foundation if they want to go into that program. And in fact, that is covered in the upper tiers of my program, and it utilizes a wonderful, wonderful book on algebra and geometry and trig that is by Dr. George Simmons called Pre-Calculus Mathematics in a Nutshell. And I talk a lot about that in my book and also on our website. But by the way, if you're going to buy a textbook and teach math yourself, high school math to your students, I would recommend this book. It's about $20 on Amazon, and it's the only book you need for algebra, geometry, and trigonometry. I can tell you that. So contrast that with the hundreds of dollars that you could be spending on more conventional books that, quite frankly, are not nearly as good as that one. Now, the third question that I want to address today is how should you teach them this mathematics? I get to ask this question all the time, particularly by people and homeschool teachers that don't feel particularly comfortable with mathematics. And that's not uncommon at all. And it is true that it's very difficult to teach math if you don't really understand it quite well yourself. So the real quick answer to that, and the best practical way I know, is to enroll your student in my course, my Practical Math Foundation course. You can learn all about it on the website. I have videos that discuss it and all of that sort of thing. But I'll tell you in a nutshell that this is a course that's delivered via the internet. So it's online. They have to log in to do it, of course. It's interactive, which is very important. That's one of the secrets to successful math ed. And it's self-paced, and that is equally important. It provides plenty of exercises to do, which is very important. Math is a contact sport, as I talk about in my book. Also, this program provides a continual evaluation. There are quizzes that are given at every step of the way, and then feedback to the student so the student can see how he or she is progressing. And in fact, this is one of the keys to developing student satisfaction and good psychology. It also, of course, helps whoever is mentoring the student, because in this program you would serve more as a mentor than as a teacher. You don't really even have to know the math yourself. You just need to be sure your student is going through the program in an organized way, taking the quizzes and doing it step by step. And you may want to learn along with them if you want to learn some math, but you don't have to. Now, this content is appropriate content for any post-elementary math beginner, regardless of what their future education is going to be. But of course, it's particularly good for students that may not want to go into science. They may just want to be in a non-professional technical subject, or just have a general background in math that they can use in their life, and that program is very well designed for that. Now, you might wonder, how long does it take a student to go through the program? And the answer varies from student to student because it is self-paced, but 3 or 4 months would be typical, assuming the student's going to work 4 or 5 hours per week. We recommend they do it, of course, in half-hour to hour sessions. Of course, they need to do the exercises and take the quizzes. But if you look at the syllabus, you can see how that would work. And usually, in less than a semester, they can complete this program. Now, as I mentioned, the learning will consist of learning about topics and concepts from the videos, doing exercises, and then taking evaluation quizzes, which will reinforce their learning and give them recognition. As I already said once before, the Practical Math Foundation covers pre-algebra, algebra, geometry, and trigonometry. And also, very importantly, how to use a scientific calculator, which is the modern tool that's required in practical math. If you were going to go to work for me and do problems in technology that a typical industrial worker has to do today, I would expect you to be able to use a calculator and do those problems with that. The days of using manual methods and pencil and paper are long gone. As I mentioned also earlier, this will provide a foundation for future math students that want to pursue a STEM program and go on into college or engineering. And then there are upper tiers in the Dr. Dell program to do that, which are discussed on my website and in the book if you're interested in that. And I want to talk to you about what I call a plant a seed program. And here's what I mean by that. I'm going to assume that you're a member of some group of homeschool parents that work together and talk to each other, and you're all interested in providing the best possible education to your students, but you have to consider, of course, the resource constraints that you're faced with. Well, as I've said already, I believe that the Practical Math Foundation course is probably going to be the best solution for many of you. And that'll be especially true if you're not particularly good at teaching math or you don't have time to do it, and if you're not totally and enthusiastically satisfied with whatever it is you're currently doing. Now, if you are, of course, that's another matter, but most people are not, and then I think you'll find this will be a great improvement for you. But the problem is this. No matter what I say on my website or in any videos I give you, ultimately, I believe that you need to evaluate it for yourself. Somebody in your group needs to do that. And once you've done that, then you're going to know what it does. And if it's going to work for one student and you get the feedback, then you're going to find out how good it is. And quite frankly, I don't think you're going to believe how great this program is until you actually see it in action with some student that you know about. I can put testimonials on my website all day long, but I think you really need to see it in action. So here's what we're going to do. Here's what the plant the seed is. I want to give one of these foundation programs to one person that's in your group so that you can give it to your student that is qualified for it and is appropriate for it and evaluate it. And then you can report the firsthand results that your student has to your entire group. So that's what the seed is. The seed is giving one foundation program at no charge at all to one person in your group. So the question is now, who do I give it to? Well, first of all, the person we're going to give it to has to be eligible in the sense that they have to have a post-elementary math student that's willing to work 4 or 5 hours a week for up to 3 or 4 months to master this material, that they really want to learn it. Now, if a person is eligible, that means if you as a teacher are eligible because you have one or more students that would qualify, then you need to opt in and enter a drawing we're going to have for your group of people. I mean, a drawing just for your group. So you're going to go to a special link that I'm going to give you on our website, and it's below this video. I call it the URL link in the script. And so if you go below there, you'll see a link to opt in, and you're going to go to a special opt-in page where you're going to enter your name and your email. And that's a page that's just for your group, and then you will be entered into a database and enter into a drawing for your group. Now, we're going to hold the drawing and award what we'll call the winner of the drawing and tell you who it is, and that person then and their student will begin to take the workshop and evaluate it and begin to report to the rest of you on the results. And indeed, I expect those reports to start in before the program is actually finished. Now, of course, only one person is going to be the winner, but you are also going to be a winner in the following sense. I want everybody to have an opportunity to read my book, Teaching Math. Now, you can buy it from our website or you can buy a Kindle version from Amazon. But if you enter this drawing, I'm going to give you a PDF copy of my book at no charge at all. And then that way you can read it in your Adobe Acrobat Reader on your own computer. And so you'll have that book, Teaching Math. Now, I will tell you there's a lot of material in the book that you may not want to study right away, but you'll figure out pretty quickly what is relevant to you. And I will, in fact, give you some videos on that as time goes on so that it'll help you know just what it is you should be paying attention to. But in particular, I want you to know what's happened in the modern math curriculum and why it's not working very well for most students. And I want you to fully understand the what, why, and how that I've already discussed briefly in this video. Now, once you've opted in and you've gotten a copy of my book and you've entered the drawing, we're going to occasionally communicate with you relevant information that we think will help you. For example, we have some special videos and special discussions for math teachers, and particularly those that have read the book or at least are reading the book and understand some of the contents. Because learning math education and what to do is not something you're going to do in one video or in 1 hour. It's a process you're going to go through. And so I'll be communicating with you. And of course, if you get tired of hearing from me and you don't want to know any more about it, you can just opt out and you won't hear any more from me. But just remember this. My goal for you is to deliver a great and in fact the very best math education to your student that's possible within, of course, your constraints. Now, because of that, you're going to be able to contact me really at any time with questions or comments you might have. I welcome those. That helps me keep improving the program and adding to it all the time, which we're constantly doing. You can call me at our website number, which is on this website, 812-355-3030. You can talk to Debbie, who is our president of Triad Math, and she will set up a Skype appointment for you and me. Now, I prefer to use Skype because well, that's what I'm using now. I can write things on to you and answer questions, and as I talk to you, I can write things down. Because when you talk about math, you very frequently need to be drawing pictures or writing things down. I call it kitchen table math. That's I pretend you're at my kitchen table, and we have a communication. Of course, you can email me directly at drdale@Triad Math. But just remember that my only goal for you is to help you deliver the very best possible math education to your student within whatever constraints of your resources there might be in terms of time and money, and that's pretty great for all of us today. In fact, what you're going to find out if you choose to buy the foundation course is that you'll be able to achieve all these objectives we've talked about with the foundation course for less than $100 if you decide to go on it. And that's what you'll be winning if you happen to win the drawing. Now, keep in mind, though, that's a two-way street. You are committing when you win it to put a student through it and give a good report to the rest of us. So that's what this Plant a Seed program is all about. I hope that you will join in and opt in if you have a student that qualifies for this, and that we'll be communicating in the future, and that you will have great success in delivering the very best math education to your student that is possible to do. It's Dr. Dell signing off. I will probably see you or talk to you in another video in the future. Bye-bye.